Hey, what is up guys, my name is LFX and welcome back to This Week in Competitive Counter-Strike. Now, this week I decided to wait until today to talk about the news because, one, I was late on doing it yesterday, I was busy, and another thing was that I actually want to talk about it on Monday now instead of Friday because I feel like, well, one thing is just because the last Pro Series, the premiere that just finished, I wanted to wait for that to finish before doing news on it. Because last week, as soon as I made that video, they just opened up the other group, so it kind of felt like I was missing out on stuff. Plus, I just wanted to get the rest of the news for the Blast Spring Series out of the way now because it's all over. So yeah, that is the conclusion of the Blast Spring Series. So let's talk about what has been going on. So the first thing is that the Spring Series Group C has been concluded, meaning the whole event is now being pushed over. So the group stage is now over for the whole event. So group A, B, C, they're all done. All 12 teams have had their placings done, and the top bracket of their teams, which is FaZe, Liquid, Na'Vi, Complexity, G2 and OG, are all going to be going to the Spring 2020 finals. And the teams that were in the lower bracket, NIP, MIBR, Vitality, Astralis, EG and 100 Thieves, are going to be in the showdown. I believe the showdown is to get to the finals, but I don't know how this format works because this is the first time Blast has actually done this ever. They usually just do, they did the Blast Global Finals last year, which was the first ever proper best of 3 format they had ever done. And then before then it was just Blast Pro Series, which is the best of ones that they're doing there. So yeah, let's talk about the Group B and the Group C, as I didn't talk about it. The first one is going to be Complexity, and I know this is kind of old news now because Group C has just concluded. Group B was last week, as I missed it. But yeah, Complexity looking really good, specifically Rush and Poison. They are definitely the top tier players here, as well as Obo, even though Obo, I believe, still 16 years old. So he's still got a lot of potential. There's no way that 16-year-old is going to be in his prime. So we're going to see if he can turn into something like Electronic, where the older he gets, the better he seems to get, apparently. Another thing is that Astralis actually went 0-2 in the entire event. They lost to Na'Vi to actually go into the lower bracket completely. But yeah, playing 2 matches, not winning a single one. The first one was against Complexity. The second one was against Na'Vi. They lost against Complexity 2-0. And then they lost against Na'Vi 2-1. Not very impressive. Luckily for them, their mindset is good about it. They're just playing it off as it's just a whiff of the first event of the year. But hopefully it doesn't continue because Astralis are my favourite team personally. And they're the best team in the world. So no one wants them really to do that bad, going from number 1 to 0. Another one is that Na'Vi actually looked really, really good. It's not just Astralis doing bad. Na'Vi did top the bracket completely. Matches won 3, matches lost 1, and that was, I think it was against Complexity to go into the lower bracket. I do not remember though. But yeah, they played every single team, I believe, and then they won every single team. Electronic looking so fucking good, and S1mple now looking like the best player in the world again over ZywOo. I mean, they played against Vitality, and ZywOo just wasn't anywhere to be seen. S1mple was completely destroying him, so that's nice to see again. So now we're going into Group C of the Blast Premier Spring Series. Now this was the death group for me. Like, you look at Group A, you look at Group B, and most people would establish the teams that they think would have gone into the top bracket. Like FaZe and Liquid, you expected Liquid to be at the top bracket, you know what I mean? You didn't expect FaZe to do as well as they did, but you kind of expected them to do well. Na'Vi and Astralis. I expected Astralis and Vitality to top the Group B, to be honest, not Na'Vi and Complexity. So it was surprising, but Group C, G2, OG, Evil Geniuses, and 100 Thieves was the complete death group because I had no idea who would even win this because all the teams have kind of been looking a bit weird. We haven't seen 100 Thieves play in a while. G2 were looking really inconsistent. OG is a new team, and all Evil Geniuses haven't been doing as well recently, so it was cool to see. G2 topping the bracket, winning 3 out of the 3 matches they have played. I believe they 2-0'd 2 of the teams, and then they 2-1'd another team. I can't remember though. I think that is how it is. KennyS. Kenny, you're doing very well. Kenny is doing so good now. Now, he was actually talking about becoming a top tier team again and being more professional. There's a link to the article that you're seeing on screen now is this: we've been trying to accomplish what a professional team is supposed to, meaning that Kenny is really going hard with this team. Like they lost to 3 players at the last event they properly played, which was the Summit. They lost to Mouseboards with a coach and a stand-in, even though the native Suffix is a good player, but still their coach, and they lost. So luckily they can have some motivation here and actually doing pretty well in 2020, so hopefully that does continue. Another one is about OG. OG, this is their first proper event, I believe, like a proper with top tier teams event. They're doing very well. They are getting a lot better. They came second in the bracket, meaning that they are actually going to the finals. So it's going to be nice to see them there. The team is playing well, even though the communication, I've seen 2 clips of, Alexi B just asking them to completely stop talking, like, stop talking, please. But yeah, it's going to be a bit weird. So now I'm going to be talking about just general things in the CS world, not in, specifically events that are happening, or things in events, more things around events. Now the first one is going to be the Polish scene. Well, the Polish scene has been pretty dead since VP kind of disbanded in that way. The players all leaving the team, and then they're adding new players that aren't doing well, and then they completely got rid of the Polish roster after the CS Summit. A lot has been happening in the Polish scene, not a lot of big things, but a lot of things. So the first thing is that, unfortunately, Snax and Byali, who are both in Virtus.Pro, they completely forgot to qualify or even register for a qualifier. So not only have these guys been playing for years, they've been playing CSGO since the game came out practically. They forgot to sign up for what is one of the biggest qualifiers of this year, which was for the major, right? And then they miss one again. This time, it was Snax missing it. The first one, they completely missed the qualifier, right? The second one, they played it, but without Snax, because he overslept. And it was a 3 p.m. game, okay? A 3 p.m. game. So, what's happening there then? I know Snax did say something about him having a disease or something, having to take sleeping pills to get to sleep, and then that made him oversleep. So if that is the case, obviously your health is a lot more important than a random open qualifier for a big event like, well, it was Flashpoint. I would take your health over playing CS, you know what I mean? Like, if you have a serious health issue, I'm not just going to go, I'm not going to take the medication I need just so I can play a qualifier tomorrow. That's not what I do. It is unfortunate they lost, but Snax wasn't even their best player anymore anyway, and it wasn't like they were going to qualify. The mentality is more what you're looking for there, not the, oh, we weren't going to win anyway, but yeah. Another thing is the Polish scene has been very mixed and shuffled recently, so Luminar benching Oscarish and Stomp, who, I've heard of them, but only when they played in XCOM like 2 years ago. Then Ago kicked MHL 6 days ago, or 7, I think it was a week ago now. So they kicked MHL, and then they just added him back. So apparently it was something to do with school, but if you can fix those problems in 6 days, then I don't know what the fuck's up. But yeah, they kicked him and then they added him back. It seemed like such a big deal over nothing, even though I've never even heard of MHL before, so okay. And nothing else since last week has been heard about Neo and Taz with their new team. Hopefully in the next few weeks they will be talking about something, because the Polish scene is as dry as the Sahara right now. It's kind of reminding me of the Brazilian scene. Not much is happening. I mean, you still got MIBR and Furia, but they're not really doing much right now. So hopefully before the major, they can get back to form, because we need a Brazilian team doing well at the major. It's like Katowice last year. We didn't have VP in the event. There was no Polish teams in the Polish major, which is the first in, I think it's since the game came out. I think that's the first time a non-Polish team a Polish team has never been at a Polish major. The last one VP were at, which was Polish, was IM Krakow 2017. So yeah, that's interesting to know. So hopefully we get a Brazilian team at a Brazilian major, because we didn't get big at the Starladder major, which was in Berlin, and then we didn't get a Polish team at Katowice. We didn't get a British team at the Face It major. Obviously there is no good British teams, but we haven't had a team that is actually there from that area be in the major since the Boston major. Like, seriously, that was the last time we had a team from the area where the major was based. So hopefully we can have that. But anyway, that's been this week's competitive news, not a lot going on because of the Virtus.Pro Spring Series is all there's really going to be happening this week. There is this thing that's just happened where the ESL has announced the historic long-term deal with 13 organizations, that being Astralis, Complexity, ENTS, EG, FaZe, Fnatic, G2, Mousesports, Navi, NIP, Liquid, Vitality, and 100 Thieves. So I think this is to do with the whole Flashpoint situation. I will be talking about that in another video. That is to do with this week's news in CS, but it is kind of a big deal and it needs a whole video for itself. So yeah, other than that, guys, that has been this week's news in competitive CS. I will see you in the next video, guys. Peace.
Yeah, watching cartoons up in my room.
Watching cartoons up in my room.
Yeah, watching cartoons up in my room.
Watching cartoons up in my room.
Yeah, started from the bottom on that bullshit when I told the world 100